Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for April 20th, 2021. If you can all please stand, Councilman Ed Lachterman will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very much, Councilman Lachterman.
Thank you.
We'll have a moment of silence. Quite a few for us to remember tonight. Starting with, of course, Monsignor Brennan of St. Pat's, who unfortunately passed away.
When did he pass away?
This past weekend, from a stroke.
God.
Yes. I also want to hold a moment of silence for George Floyd, and the verdict today, a very important one. Of course, for our first responders and our police who continue to protect us every single day.
Amen.
And many others who stand on the front lines, whether on the pandemic or protecting our freedoms overseas. Thank you. Do introductions quickly. Supervisor Matt Slater, without a mask, by the way, which is an exciting day, since I'm by myself here in Town Hall. We have Councilwoman Alice Roker, Councilman Vishnu Patel, Councilman Ed Lachterman, Councilman Tom Diana. We have our Town Clerk, Diana Quast, and our Town Attorney, Adam Rodriguez. A couple of announcements to make. I did want to start again with the verdict from today. I hope today's verdict reassures everyone that no one is above the law. And this hopefully closes a very, very ugly chapter in our nation's history. And we now need to focus on healing, on building mutual respect for each other, and ultimately creating a better and more prosperous future for every single American citizen. To move on to town business, on COVID, I'm happy to report that the numbers continue on a downward trajectory, which is, of course, great news. Today, the Department of Health's report showed 12 new cases, but we've continued downward to now 159 active cases. As you all know, active cases means a confirmed COVID diagnosis over a two-week period. We here at Town Hall and the library are going to be opening our doors beginning May 3rd. It's not going to be like we all used to see it and feel it, but we are trying to do this in a very safe and responsible manner. Here at Town Hall, we'll have our doors open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and we're going to do that for the month of May to see how that goes. Library will be opening its normal operating hours. They will have a capacity limitation of 50% or 150 people at any one time. We all believe that at that point, those who wish to be vaccinated will have received and have been fully vaccinated. And so we are looking forward to May 3rd. It's going to be an exciting day for town government here in Yorktown. Speaking of vaccines, we continue to partner with a number of local pharmacies, provide them here in the town of Yorktown in our local pop-up clinics. After Thursday, we will have fully vaccinated more than 3,000 people. And that's just an incredible number.
Good. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And a big thank you to our friends at Acme, to our friends at Save More Pharmacy, and our friends at Taconic Pharmacy for just being phenomenal partners here in our community. We have an update on the Department of Health's grant extension regarding the fluoride project. Very happy to report with the good work of our engineering department and our town clerk that the grant has been extended to July 31st. And that is a welcome extension. Right now, I'm happy to report that they are out there every day moving that project forward. We expect it to be mostly completed by the end of May. And so that extension allows us to make sure that our paperwork is in and we get fully reimbursed for that grant. As we all know, we did submit federal grants this past week, federal grants to Congressman Mondaire Jones with the help of the LaBerge Group. We did put 2 grants in, one for the overhaul of the police radio system as well as a grant to help us with the Halleck's Mill sewer extension, which we're going to be talking more about in the coming weeks. I do want to thank all of our partners in government who provided support letters, from County Executive George Latimer to Assemblyman Byrne and Senator Harcum, and our county legislators, Vidat Ghashi and Colin Smith. As we all know, the Veterans Road Culvert project has been completed, and Veterans Road is now open once again. So a special thank you to all of the departments who played a pivotal role in that, from our highway department, of course, our engineering department, our water department. Everyone came together, and of course, to Transit, who's the company overseeing it, a great job. We still have Hill Boulevard that's continuing. That's a longer project. It's a larger project. Hill Boulevard continues to be closed. Progress is being made setting up the sewer bypass, which is the last step before the bridge is actually removed and we put the new bridge in. So we are making progress there. But again, that's still several months away from completion. A couple more things on COVID. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund Program was announced again. There's information for all of our small business owners who are in the restaurant business. There's information right on the town's website as to who is eligible and how you can access this federal program. Again, that's the Restaurant Revitalization Fund Program. And the last two things, friendly reminders. First one, tax deadline. Tax deadline is at the end of the month for your local and county taxes. You can pay online, you can mail it in, you can use the Dropbox. So there are a multitude of ways to do that. You can also call our tax department and you can make an appointment with them if you want to hand it to them. But there are many ways for you to pay your tax bill. Again, that tax deadline is April 30th. And finally, for those who are looking to help our community this weekend, it is once again the Battle of Yorktown. And this is a great program that unfortunately was put on hold last year due to COVID, but we did bring it back for this year. It is our roadside litter cleanup. And so if you're interested in forming a team and getting involved, please contact our refuse department and they will assign you an area that you can go and clean up some of the roadside litter. And this is something that we've been doing a lot lately. As a reminder, littering is a very disgusting offense. We do have increased litter cams that have already caught individuals who have been dumping or littering within our community. But of course, we all want to make sure that we live in a very clean and beautiful community. So this Saturday, Battle of Yorktown, all are welcomed. And also this Saturday is once again our e-waste, textile, and tire program. So you can bring any of your discarded electronics, textiles, or tires over to the refuse department over by the police station right off of 202, and you can safely discard those with our staff. And I did forget, of course, two more things. I promised it was only two things. We had a great meeting last night with the Food Security Task Force. We welcomed Faith Ann Butcher from the United Way of Westchester and Putnam. We had just a really great conversation, and we focused in on the Alice report. And I think we're going to have Faith come and talk to the board about the Alice report. But fact of the matter is, in Yorktown, a quarter of our population is one emergency away from poverty, and it's an unfortunate reality. And COVID obviously did not help the situation. So we are trying to find resources to help. And one of the things that they are doing through the United Way tomorrow, they are having a financial seminar. And I believe we put this up on the community calendar. But it's the UWWP is teaming up with Hudson Valley Credit Union for a financial wellness seminar. And you can go learn about building emergency savings, better budgeting tools. And it's a great service provided by the United Way of Westchester. And so that is again tomorrow from 12:30 to 1:30, and that is on our community calendar. And I promise this is the last of my announcements. As we all know, we are bringing food waste recycling to the town of Yorktown, which is all very, very exciting. One of the things that we are looking to do, we are launching a logo contest in partnership with T-Town Reservation, which is a great organization here in Yorktown. And so for anyone who is interested in participating in our logo contest, the deadline is May 15th. And the idea is to have some great talented logo selected to represent the Yorktown's food waste recycling program. And once selected, we will turn those into the decals that we will be utilizing to represent that program. So we'll be formally announcing this tomorrow, but I wanted to give everyone a heads up tonight. Again, that deadline is May 15th, and I promise that is the last announcement that I have tonight. So we'll go over to Councilman Patel. Councilman Patel.
Okay, good news is the flooring project. I would like to be volunteer because I know everything need to know about the flooring. Since 12 years I was involved, and 36 years ago I started working with the flooring. Every aspect of flooring you can tell me, and I'm the one who find out what was wrong over there, and it was requested, and finally it's going to be completed. Thank you to everybody. It's better late than never. So it has happened. So really good. Thank you to the entire board. The Veterans Road, I supposed to come, but I had a little something to came up urgency, but I was only few minutes late up before you left. But I was there earlier before you came and after, and I have a picture of every day, and I'm going to give it to the highway department because they were always there. Guys were very nice, and I think I have taken one professional engineer, really, really good one, no cost to the town, and he was impressed, the quality of work, So that's really good, that is our good fortune. And we didn't have to, it didn't cost much money to the town, right? Other than some inconvenience. Mm-hmm. Hey, no pain, no gain.
Well, right? We didn't receive a grant for that one, so that one at Hill Boulevard. So
yeah, it was really nice. That's wonderful.
It was good.
And then, taxes are a mandatory contribution. Is not a volunteer contribution. If I am a really, if I have a power, I don't need that kind of power to excuse somebody that, you don't have to pay the taxes. And fortunately, that's the way it is. If there is no taxes, then we'll not have a fluoridation program, we'll not have a road paved and water and all that. So this is what we collect the taxes for you to give this kind of service provided. So that's about it. And I hope the spring is on its way. If you use your mask, you will have to buy something which you call an allergy, sneezing. You may avoid that one too when you cut the grass, because I am doing it all the time. Supervisor always put his mask even inside the town, So isn't it great? We are really telling people to use a mask, and I think it's a credit goes to the entire town board. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilwoman Roker?
Yeah, I have terrible allergies and
words that he had used. It will be interesting to see in a couple months if we do find, because there is time.
Who is that?
I think that was Council.
Okay.
So you had you were having allergies,
yeah,
right?
Allergy and I have bronchitis. So I was in bed for quite a few days. And I just want to thank Chief Noble and the members of the Yorktown Police Department, the whole department. When you're, over the last couple of weeks, I had to watch all of the news. And the one thing that I held close was that I live in a community where the police chief and his department participated in a study over this past year and actually opened the doors to what they do.
Right.
And it was for me, it was eye-opening. And the one thing that I remember, and I don't remember the words, was even though the police officers take an oath of office to work for the government, they take another oath in the Yorktown Police Department. And that is a more personal oath that they take. And I am appreciative of the way I think our police department hires police officers. It is not a well, your brother Sal can go work for him. It doesn't work that way. I appreciate the training that all of our police officers undergo. I appreciate the chief who sets a tone for his department, sets a model for his department, and says, this is who we are. Mm-hmm. And I just want to thank all of them for all they do to keep us safe.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. We'll go to Councilman Diana.
Good evening, all. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. I'm real happy to report about the Shrub Oak Getty coming down. I'll tell you, the pile of rubble looks real good there compared to what was there, and that's going to be done shortly, and then the new construction will begin. So, North Side folks, I guess we finally got her done. So it's amazing. We were there on the day they took the first swipe with the excavator, and I watched it come down during the next week. It was interesting to see the old outline of the sign, the VDOL sign, the VDOL gas sign that was there that I remember from when I was a kid. But
how many years ago was that?
What's that?
How many years ago was that?
Oh, probably about 10 years ago. But
decades or years?
I used to like you, Ed. But progress is beginning, and that's just one of several that we're all working on. Let me see. What did I have here? Battle of Yorktown is a very important thing for this town. And, if you can't get together with a group, at least go out and try and pick up your street. It's all helpful. You can stop at our R&R office and pick up some orange bags and just let them know where you're going to be so that they know to go pick up those particular bags that are laying along the side of the street. It's really a good function, and it's fun to see. You go down the street one day, and then you go down the street the next day, and it's like Ajax was here. That old commercial. It's all clean. Yeah. It's really inspiring to see the people go out there and actually take pride in this town. And we had a great turnout at the Legion, the Sons of the American Legion, for our Sunday breakfast. Ed's going to give you more on that. Also, on the Legion, I'll be giving you an update. We're going to be Sons of the American Legion are going to be putting a patio in for the Legion post. I don't know if there's any students out there that need civic time, but we're going to need some labor, and hopefully it'll be prepped within the next week and a half, and then we can start putting down the patio pavers and move on from there. So that's all I have. I know we have a pretty good agenda, so on to our next. Have a great week, folks.
All right. Councilman Lachterman, report to the town.
All right. Well, I just had a couple things added. Thank you, Councilman Diana. First, I did want to report, because I don't think a lot of people know it, the Teen Center is back up and in operation on Friday nights from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. There's a form, a COVID form. There are COVID procedures. Right now, they limit to 10 participants per staff. So they have 2 staff currently on, so that gives you 20 people. If you go to yorktowntc.org, you can find the form. Nicole, who runs it, you could email her that you'd like to save a place on the list, and it's a great way for our teens to be able to interact. And they do temperature screening, COVID forms, so lots of safe ways to handle it. And they started up last week, I believe it was, and had 10 kids, so nice and successful, and a great way to let your kids get some great interaction. Actually, 2 weeks they've been there now. Next, since we've spoken a lot about e-waste and cleaning up and all these different things, just a reminder, the mobile shredder will be here on Friday, the 30th of April. They will be set up at, well, we'll go through all three. For the old timers like Tommy, the Mud Pit.
No, Ed, no. Mud Hole.
Mud Hole. Sorry, Tommy. From my memory, it's the Shrub Oak Pool, but now it's the Brian J. Slavin Aquatic Center on, I believe, what's the street name there, Tom? Sunnyside?
Sunnyside, yeah.
Yep. So Sunnyside Avenue, hang a right, and go down into the parking lot there. I believe they are set up from 10 to 2, and great way, especially with all of the identity theft going on, a great way to get rid of some of those documents that you don't want to just throw out in the trash or into the recycle. The Lions have their golf outing coming up on June 7th. It'll be at Somers Point, which is, well, actually now it's called Somers National, up by Heritage Hills. The website where you could find more information for them is YorktownLionsClub.com, all one word. Then we'll talk quickly about the Sons of the American Legion and post 1009 of the American Legion right on Veterans Road. We will be doing our honor tribute banners again this year. We have added sites on East Main Street in Shrub Oak, as well as the sites in town. So you will be able to say, hey, I'd like my banner put up on this side or that side, and we will try to accommodate as best we can. I'll give a shout out to, I see Highway Superintendent Paganelli there, because he helps organize those banners getting hung, especially on the street side with the help of someone from the Yorktown Central School District. And then we also had our post-Legion breakfast, and just so everyone knows, it's the third Sunday of every month, and that money raised there goes for veteran services. We were able to accommodate 48 people this week. We do keep COVID restrictions in. I think we max out at 52 with our 50%. So we were able to, we had 48 people attend. Everyone seems to have had a good time, and, plenty of food to go around. They ate enough for about 80 people. So, but that was because Tommy was there this time around. And the last thing, I know Councilman Diana mentioned the patio. So the Sons of the American Legion are volunteering to build a patio on the outside for the Legion Hall, so they have some outdoor venue space, especially with COVID restrictions. Some people have asked how they could get involved. The bricks and materials are paid for, but one gentleman asked if he could donate some money towards the furniture, which was a great idea. So they're going to be getting some basic furniture for the patio, and that is definitely a way that people can help out if they'd like to. And I think that about wraps it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilman Lachman. I also forgot to mention that this Friday, the Yorktown Stage is actually holding its first in-person piece. They're holding Urinetown, which was a Broadway hit. And now that some of the guidance has loosened from the state, they are having their first in-person production. So that's also going on this weekend, and that's this Friday.
I did miss one thing. Tomorrow we will be holding our Veterans Advisory Council meeting. That'll be at 7 p.m. at the VFW. We are limited. People have been reserving. If anyone's interested, please go through my town email and let me know. And this is a council made up of veterans and people who work within veteran services to try to help combat any of our veterans' needs and help them navigate through the system.
Councilman Lachman, if you can just drop Robin Steinberg an email to make sure it's on the community calendar with all that information.
I will do.
That would be great. I see that we have anything else from anyone on the town board?
Yes, one of the councilmen just said that this center is open. Where is the entrance through the main gate or by the theater?
It's actually the Veterans Road side entrance. They come down.
It's like a museum. Okay.
Yeah. If you contact Nicole Fevron, I believe it is, or no, the other Nicole. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Nicole Fasci.
Fasci, thank you.
Yeah.
Nicole F's in town. You could contact Nicole Fasci. Her email is on the Yorktown Teen Center website. They spell out the process for you.
Great.
Bringing that up.
Thank you.
I see that we have our highway superintendent, Dave Paganelli, with us. Dave, how we doing tonight?
We're doing good, Supervisor. How you doing?
We're doing good. You got another picture up. It's a little.
No, I do have.
Where are you?
I just finished mowing my lawn and I took it outside. It was beautiful.
There you go. It's new on the road there, Dave.
I'm going to be Monty Hall tonight. Let's make a deal. You'll see on the agenda later. We'll be auctioning off some equipment. I've reached out to the other departments, and with respect to sewer, they have shown some interest in one of the backhoes, and we certainly have interest, as we've stated for the last couple of years, in their Vector. So we're trying to work out an arrangement for that, as well as to give our mini excavator. We currently have 3. This one is older. It's been up at the Brian Slavin Memorial Pool for quite some time. So we're going to work that out with Parks. What else? Oh, trees. We've been doing a lot of trees, and there's been a lot of questions from residents about trees ever since Isaias. So I hope to be writing an op-ed soon to sort of explain the parameters with respect to trees. I mean, first and foremost, we don't take down live trees, So that being said, I know people get worried. They're worried about trees, but we don't take down live trees just because people are worried about it. Certainly they are, if they're willing to take it down at their expense, that's their prerogative. We may or may not grant that approval. That being said, coming soon to a neighborhood near you, our sweeper. Our sweeper's been out for 4 weeks now. And in that period of time, we have saved, $800 a day, 5 days, $4,000 a week. 4 and 4 is $16,000, which is great. Shout out to Nick Burns, who's been running the sweeper, as well as Patty Dickin and Mike Grasso, who run it when Nick is off. So with the exception of 1 day, the sweeper's been out every day. So we're very happy with that. And as you can see, we're about town doing drainage. You and I have been working on some paving surprises, so hopefully that comes to fruition. And, there'll be good things on the horizon. So that's it. Thank you.
And Dave, I know you and I were out on London Road today. You were doing
Yes.
drainage out there with some of your guys. That's expected to be completed this week?
Yes. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be a bit rainy. We will open up the road tomorrow. We put the new basins in. We'll open the road tomorrow. The pipe across the road is shot. And we will be replacing that pipe hopefully tomorrow. The morning looks good. Afternoon will probably be a non-starter. And so what's day? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we should button it up.
Great.
Yep. And thanks for coming out. Guys, appreciated seeing you.
You guys are doing a great job out there. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to a proclamation. This is, we had our tree commission on last week, and in recognition of Arbor Day, we asked that they gave our town clerk the proclamation, which I'll read. Whereas Arbor Day, which began in Nebraska in 1872, is now observed throughout the nation and world. And whereas celebrating Arbor Day has been a tradition in Yorktown for more than 100 years, whereas Arbor Day in Yorktown is designed to recognize the benefits trees provide and facilitate tree planting in town parks, in or around wetlands and stream corridors, along our streets and highways, and around the properties of our homes and businesses. And whereas Tree City USA, a program of the Arbor Day Foundation and the United States Forest Service, recognizes municipalities, counties, and U.S. Armed Forces bases all across the country which meet established requirements for tree protection and promotion of the many benefits of healthy lives. And whereas, with the acceptance of its renewal application, this year marks the 10th consecutive year of Yorktown's designation as a Tree City USA, And whereas Yorktown, by joining with more than 3,600 Tree City USA communities, is duly recognized for the efforts of its citizens and town officials to promote a healthy environment for all. Now be it resolved that I, Matt Slater, along with the town board of the town of Yorktown, hereby proclaim Friday, April 30th, 2021, as Arbor Day in the town of Yorktown, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and Yorktown's 10th anniversary as a Tree City USA and to support our trees and woodlands. And be it further resolved to commemorate Arbor Day, a ceremonial tree planting will take place on the grounds of the John C. Hart Memorial Library on Friday, April 30th, 2021.
Motion.
Motion? Second? Second from Councilman Diana. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And now we are very excited to welcome a good friend of Yorktown's. We have Kathy Quinn of Support Connections, who wanted to do a presentation for the town board. Kathy, how are you? Kathy, are you there? Hold on one second. I think we're having some technical difficulties. We can see her. We just can't hear her. Just waiting for Kathy to connect with her audio. She can do a presentation about Support Connections. She's been in town for more than 25 years now. Do we want to have her sign back in and see if that works? We'll have Diana work with her on the technical difficulties. And we can, in the meantime, we have some resolutions regarding personnel. You want to tackle those while we wait for Kathy to jump on? All right.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we have some resolutions for personnel. We'll take them together. To appoint Thomas J. Murphy, a police officer in the Yorktown Police Department. To reappoint William Primavera as a member of the Advisory Board of Architecture and Community Appearance. To reappoint David M. McConnell as a member of the Advisory Board of Architecture and Community Appearance. And to reappoint Chris Tormina as a member of the Advisory Board of Architecture and Community Appearance. A motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motions carry. I'm just going to check in with our town clerk just to see if we can trying to get Kathy Quinn from Support Connections so that we can hear her and she can do her presentation for the town.
Okay.
Kathy, are you there?
Tell me what you want to do.
Kathy's going to do it through my phone, okay?
Oh, perfect.
Go
Hey,
ahead.
Kathy, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yep.
Great to hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Technical difficulties galore tonight. I apologize. And
Not a problem at all.
thank you. Is this a good time for me to share
Yeah,
a few things?
Please,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone and thank you very much for having me on this evening. Well, I wanted to let you know I'm here, representing two things. Support Connection. I wanted to let everyone in the town and beyond know that we are doing many things now, still virtually, dealing still with the COVID pandemic, but we're offering many programs that I would recommend if people would like to go on our website, supportconnection.org. We have ongoing meditation classes and a yoga class, and we also are going to have a wonderful program delivered by the Art Effect in early May. And all these programs are designed to help people who are dealing with the stress of breast and ovarian cancer, and it could all be found on our website. So I wanted to thank you very much, to let me have the opportunity to inform people about these services. Also, on a more lighter side, we are hosting a golf outing also, but I do believe it might be the same day of the wonderful Lions Club, so I'm not going to really say much about that because, we have our participants, and I just also want to support and promote the Lions Club as well. One last thing I'd like to share is I was contacted by the Family Services of Westchester about Project Hope, which is to help people dealing with all the stress of COVID. And they have a wonderful program, and it's with free counseling for anyone who needs that. Any kind of stress that you're dealing with or questions on COVID. And I'm just going to, oops, hold on. I did not fall. Hold on. Sorry about that. I don't know if you can still see me. But the number to call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. is 708-6104 in the 914 area code. And this is a great resource for people. And I know from even dealing with everyone at Support Connection, people are often very uncomfortable to talk about what COVID has done, not only in navigating illness, but, worries about family members, jobs, etc. This is totally free and confidential. So I've been trying to help them spread the word about this resource. So hopefully some of the listeners might benefit. And I think that is it right now. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Kathy, I just want to thank you for mentioning Family Services of Westchester. I sat on that board many years ago, and they are probably one of the premier agencies that if a family has a problem, call them. They can be a resource. And again, it's no money. It will not cost you. And they're great people who work for Family Services of Westchester.
Oh, thank you, Alice. Yeah, I have had contact with them through the years from different work that I have done and, volunteer work too. And they are amazing. And, that is why I have been offering to help them connect to other people. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this tonight. Any other questions?
Yes, Kathy, may I say? Okay.
We'll come to you next, Councilman Patel. Councilman Lachterman?
Yeah, Kathy, I did hear you are having your golf outing on June 7th. It is the same day. Where are you guys having yours?
We're having it at the Salem Golf Club.
Oh, nice club. Very nice. I think there are more than enough golfers around, so please give some details on it. We'd love to.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. He'd love to more details on your golf outing. We're at Salem Golf Club on the 7th.
Yeah. Well, I wish the Lions great luck on the golf outing, and we have usually a following, like the people we're honoring. They have a large group of people that are coming, and so I think hopefully both of us will have a really successful day. And I think people are feeling good that they could get out a bit again, and golfing seems to be something that is safe and people want to be out.
Well, Kathy, make sure whoever's running your prizes that they call me so I could give a gift card from the massage studio for you for a prize.
Oh, thank you, Ed. I will. Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
And I think that's one of the things, if I could just add, that I love about Yorktown and running an organization in Yorktown is how we all work together, and it's so important. And that is why, Lions, you've been a tremendous support to our work and many other organizations. So that's one of the great things about working here.
No, Councilman Patel had some questions.
Well, Kathy, you are a 25 years young organization. You have a long way to go. It is incredible service to our local community. But you know what? One time I remember your granddaughter was helping, in one of the event for the Support Connection. I cannot believe it. Really, such a beautiful, beautiful ceremony and event. So thank you for your caring for the entire community, and you are really unbelievable. Be well and be safe.
Thank you all. Well, we do have a great town, and I appreciate all that you do here, and I know how hard all the council people work, and Matt, I know you're out all the time, and we really appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Kathy. We appreciate all you do. Can you just remind everyone where your office is located in town?
Yes, absolutely. We're in the 40 Triangle Center, right near where there's a Weight Watchers and Bikram Yoga. We're in that office building attached to those two facilities. We're on the first floor, one flight up. And our phone number is 914-962-6402. And again, for those who might not know who we are, if you or a family member are dealing with a breast or ovarian cancer diagnosis, my professionally trained peer counselors who are also cancer survivors are there to offer you support, guidance, information, and also we have many wellness programs, webinars, anything and everything you need. We're here for you, and you'll actually get a human being if you call 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Someone will pick up the phone and get right back to you or talk to you right there on the spot. All free, all confidential. And I neglected to say we are celebrating 25 years this year of helping. So it's a good run, and we hope to be here a lot longer than that too.
And Kathy, I know you're focused on the golf outing, but you do a phenomenal walk every fall. Are you focused on that at all? Do you have any details that you might be able to share?
Yes, absolutely. The walk will be Sunday, October 3rd, and we begin at 9 o'clock. We are hoping to have people in the park. We're waiting on directive to see how many people we can have. Many of you might know, because you've been there many times, that we have usually thousands of people. Last year we couldn't have more than 100, but people walked in different neighborhoods throughout the country, and they recorded themselves and sent in pictures, and that was great. Matt, thank you, were there, and I think maybe Tom was there, and Ed, a few other people. Vishnu came to the park that day, and we'll keep everyone posted if we will be in the park, but we are hoping that we could be there even with a few hundred people, but we're waiting on all the directives. But they're ready to have us if we can be there.
Well, we are hopeful that you're going to be able to have another successful event in October, and equally as hopeful for a successful golf outing. And thank you for all you've done for this town and our community for the last 25 years. It is amazing, all the things that you and your team do for those in need. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you all. And appreciate your helping me with these technical difficulties tonight. I'm so glad I got to share this information. Take care.
Thank you, Kathy.
Stay well. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye now. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. And that was always great to hear from Kathy Quinn, a staple of our community for a long, long time. We now have our poet laureate. If we can let John McMullen in. There's John. John, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, John.
April, by the way, is also, as you may or may not know, it's National Poetry Month.
Ah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I don't know if you were aware of that.
I was not.
Okay. As time goes by, and it's an epigram here, which is something I'm decide to leave things in. A kiss is just a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. That was written by Herman Hupfeld in 1931. For 43 years, significantly more than half my life, I've been married to the same woman. For 42 of those years, we lived in a 275-year-old barn in Jefferson Valley, town of Yorktown, New York. During that time, we traveled for business and pleasure to 16 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, then Mexico. A thrilling life indeed. However, since the pandemic, we have stayed totally local, most of the time in the house with 3 cats and 1 dog. Bob has taught online, while I have the written poetry, been at Zoom meeting, including my town board, shop, taking care of the pets, and life is more content. I'd say even nicer. Maybe it wouldn't have been 42 years ago, but it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Always appreciate your words here at the town board.
You do.
We'll go next to courtesy of the floor, and we'll turn it over to our town clerk. And as a reminder, as I always been saying recently, and I'm going to keep saying it, you don't have to wait for town board meetings to bring your concerns to the town board. Just go right to the town's website. All the information on how to reach board members is there. And residents can always reach me at my office, 914-962-5722, extension 200, or email me, as many of them do, at mslater@yorktownny.org. Diana?
And we're going to begin with Mike Matone.
Great.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to hear from me. And
hey, Mike.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Congrats on the groundbreaking.
Thank you so much. Really excited to be opening in a neighboring community, and I'm sure we'll be serving some Yorktown residents there with our Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. It was a great day today.
Awesome.
And congrats on your ribbon cutting with the recent construction there on Veterans Road.
The only thing better than starting a project is finishing one, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, we appreciate it. And I do know that there are a lot of projects going on in town and a lot of potential projects. And I just wanted to take some time to thank you, supervisor, members of the town board, and everyone for all your diligent work. I did provide a comment letter regarding the proposed changes to zoning code regarding the overlay districts, and I hope you all had a chance to read that. But first and foremost, I wanted to thank you all. As you know, Matt had mentioned, my company is entertaining new development, and when we look at communities to build in and grow in, we're looking for communities that provide us with more opportunities to serve consumers, and that means additional housing. So the work that you guys are doing to provide more housing opportunities for the folks of Yorktown is very important to the future of our town. I did just want to make note, and I hope that you can utilize me as a resource, or some additional folks in town, or whether it be from the Community Housing Board or other folks in town, in regards to a 2019 report that I had shared many pieces of information from the Hudson Valley Pattern for Progress.
Right.
As we continue to go about the process of finding the best way to improve the viability of our town through things like the overlay districts and multifamily housing, just want to be mindful of the recent findings of unaffordability right now in the town of Yorktown, and the ways that we can look at affordable housing, workforce housing, set-asides, and other types of solutions that help people bridge the gap from what their income situation is right now to what affordable, what the housing costs are right now in Yorktown. Housing costs continue to rise. Incomes have, seen some stagnation with the pandemic. So there's some other items in my comment letter. But I think the main thing is really just, hopeful that as a town resident, and someone who is raising a young family here, just like you, Matt, and many other folks that may be watching, housing costs continue to rise. And we just want to be mindful of, when we come to a resolution to figure out the best way to bring this overlay district plan to life, we're mindful of the fact that, market rate housing might not always be the best solution. 100% market rate housing might not always be the best solution, short-term and long-term, for people who want to take advantage of the great benefits that the town of Yorktown has to offer.
Great. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
May I ask him a question? Because it's always bothered me that I didn't know the answer.
Okay.
And he can answer it.
Sure.
Mike, can you explain the difference between who goes to a federal credit union versus a bank?
Oh, sure. So banks and credit unions offer the same products and services. Typically, a bank is usually open to anyone. A credit union is typically restricted to folks that live within a certain geography or belong to a certain employment group or a series of employment groups. So based on where you live, work, or worship, you would be eligible to join certain credit unions. Yeah, most credit unions nowadays are community charter credit unions, which means anyone who lives, works, or worship in geographic areas are eligible to join. There are many credit unions that serve Westchester County, for example, Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, which is mine, Sunmark Credit Union, formerly Hudson River Financial, which is in Mohegan Lake, Hudson Valley Credit Union, Academic Federal Credit Union, which is seg-based but has some community aspects to it. But so anyone who lives, works, or worships in a certain area can join a credit union. So a singular credit union isn't for everybody, but everyone has a credit union that they can join.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks all.
Diana, who do we have next?
Well, the next one is Miriam Curtin. It looks like she stepped out of the room.
She was just there.
So.
Oh, wait, she's coming back.
Okay.
Hi, Miriam. How are you?
How are you? Sorry, I'm hearing an overdub of something on. Something's wrong. I'm hearing an overdub of the last with Hudson Valley Credit Union. I'm on the computer.
Yeah, but you have the town website up where you're watching it?
Yes.
Just X out of it. You'll lose it.
All right, let me get at it. Hold on.
Yep, and just keep zooming.
All right, hold on. Thank you.
No problem.
That solved the problem.
There you go.
Hi there.
How you doing? How can we help you tonight?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. First of all, thank you for everything COVID this past year. Truly, truly appreciated. And as a retired periodontist, thank you for the fluoride. Yogi Berra said, the future ain't what it used to be. And I am speaking tonight as a private citizen, a 32-year resident, having lived in 3 different areas of Yorktown. Unfortunately for me, I have to be honest, it is sometimes frustrating to watch the town board's apparent willingness to allow mixed-use overdevelopment and commercialization of the Soundview property by subjectively seeking to include this property in the overlay district without any factual or historic basis. The Soundview property is not part of the Heights Business District. I took a photo this morning of the green sign across the street in front of the town hall. And that's across the street from a busy town road. The town sign acknowledges the border of the business district. At a time when almost all of the strip malls and buildings in town have vacancies, the town board is looking to expand the business district in order to allow overdevelopment and commercialization of the Soundview property, a historic property. Applying the overlay district to the Soundview property will not ensure the protection of the historic Underhill House. It won't guarantee that current Yorktown residents can downsize or be able to afford to live there, or even renters from Yorktown could live there. And it won't solve the current commercial vacancy problems that exist in the town. You have all have acknowledged this at your meetings. I'm sorry, I don't like speaking in front of the public. The overlay district proposal might be appropriate for the Kmart shopping center, but it's not appropriate for Soundview. It will ruin the last bit of historical charm that is on the way to downtown, and will set a precedent for similar properties in the future. Not to mention the infrastructure, traffic, noise, aesthetics, quality of life, pedestrian and environmental concerns, all of which have not yet been addressed. In addition, we don't need another mixed-use development, especially when we have other potential mixed-use, high-density proposals that are on the horizon in the future for the business district. The town board has acknowledged that they are powerless to control which commercial tenants a developer can choose. If the town board decides to include the Soundview in the overlay district, we could potentially see a drive-through Taco Bell, a drive-through Krispy Kreme on the property. Anything is possible if you enable this to be included in the overlay district. This property deserves more scrutiny and respect, not less. Please, please don't repeat the bad planning mistakes of the past.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your time's up. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana, next.
Next is Susan Siegel.
Great. And if we could just remind our participants that it is a 3-minute allotment for courtesy of the floor.
Is that a new bell that you have, Diana?
Yeah, I changed it up. I changed it up for tonight.
Good evening, Ms. Siegel.
Hi, good evening. I always have to switch off from the TV so we don't have the crosstalk. Okay.
Yep.
Good evening. This is the 6th time that members of the Committee for a Sound Plan for Soundview have addressed the town board, urging you to remove the Soundview property from the proposed Yorktown Heights overlay district. At those meetings, we've made statements of fact, statements that have never been refuted. We've asked many direct questions that regrettably the board has chosen not to answer, which is why tonight we're not here to repeat our questions. Instead, we're here to recap some of those false and misleading statements that have been refuted, and unfortunately to refute 2 new misleading statements. Our critics deserve an A+ for their creativity. We corrected the false statement that only an overlay district could save the historic buildings on the Soundview property. We explained that saving the buildings and finding new uses for them have nothing to do with the property's zoning designation. We've also corrected the misleading assumption that a majority of the units would be set aside for seniors. As we've explained, in compliance with the Federal Fair Housing Act, the units will be available to anyone regardless of age. And we've corrected the misleading statement that including the Soundview property in the Yorktown Heights Overlay District is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The comp plan never, ever considered the Soundview property as part of the business hamlet. Contrary to what our critics have said, we are not anti-progress or anti-development. We respect the right of property owners to develop their property in a way that is consistent with the town's goals and their land use regulations. We believe that rezoning the Soundview property for multifamily housing at a lower, more reasonable density than what is allowed in the overlay law is a better, more appropriate alternative for the site and for the town. Commercial uses don't belong in a residential community. The existing Yorktown Heights business hamlet should be strengthened, not expanded. Desperate to come up with new arguments to discredit the committee, our critics have called our rezoning proposal an illegal spot zoning. This is ridiculously wrong. Their comments show a total lack of understanding of what constitutes spot zoning. We have a message for our critics. Email us at soundviewplan@gmail.com, and we'll very gladly send you a list of court cases you should have read before making your erroneous and illogical statement. A rezoning to multifamily that conforms to the comp plan's recommendations for housing diversity and economic development is not spot zoning. Finally, the Committee for a Sound Plan for Soundview has been criticized for not taking a stand in support of the proposed redevelopment of Yorktown Green. Another misleading and flawed argument. Our critics are clearly grasping for straws. So let me repeat, we're the Committee for a Sound Plan for Soundview. Our concern is the Soundview property, not Yorktown Green. And if you'd like more factual information about the Soundview property and the proposed Underhill Farms plan, please email the committee at soundviewplan@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Siegel.
Next, we have Paul Moskowitz.
Great. Mr. Moskowitz, how are you?
Hello. Gee, is this working?
It is.
Oh, look at you.
Oh,
You're
I have to
Oh, look at it.
Okay.
I love it.
Technology. Gee. I'm still living in the 20th century, by the way, so you'll have to forgive me. So, more illogical statements coming. I read Matt's article in the Yorktown News. This one. Thank you for writing this, Matt. And it started me to think about the overlay district. So I went to the town website and I found the proposed law. And I like parts of it. It's very good. That is what I see, what we lack in Yorktown Heights, in the Yorktown Heights Business District, is a coherent plan. It's sort of a hodgepodge. And we can do a lot better than that. And I see that in the proposed law, we list some of the infrastructure. We have a list of historic buildings and also some special streets, which have to be treated specially in terms of new development. I think this is great. We have to start somewhere, and the overlay district gives us a place to start on making Yorktown Heights into a much better business area. However, I think that there are some things lacking in the proposed law, and that is we have a lot of other infrastructure issues that we should be dealing with. And I made a list, which I won't read the whole list, but you have to deal with sewage, water supply, electricity, traffic. Everyone's always concerned about traffic. There's also town services, police, fire, ambulance, natural resources, woodlands, streams, wetlands. You did a good job on, or at least a start on historic structures. There's also the effect on the school system. I've seen proposals in the newspaper, and of course it's in the newspaper, so it must be true, for 315 new housing units in the Heights area. That's a lot. Just in terms of sewage, you could say that's going to be 50,000 to 100,000 gallons a day sewage. And we should know what the Yorktown Heights, the Halleck's Mill wastewater treatment plant is capable of processing. So what I suggest, what I ask for, is a more fuller exploration of the resources. First of all, we need a map of the overlay district. I hear people complaining about what's in it and what's not in it. And I don't know because there's nothing on the town website. So I'd like to see where the overlay district is. Also, I would like to see a listing of the infrastructure. When we did the comp plan 10 years ago, we had a generic environmental impact study, which pretty much covered the whole town. Things have changed in the last 10 years. I think we need an environmental assessment form to go along with the proposal for the new overlay law, and following up on that, perhaps a generic environmental impact statement, because I think there are going to be environmental impacts, most definitely, and we have to explore them. How can we invite a business into Yorktown Heights and not be able to tell them whether we have enough sewage to take care of them. For instance, I was thinking about Krispy Kreme. I've been vaccinated, and they give a free donut every day for somebody who's been vaccinated. By the way, thanks, Matt, for arranging to have vaccinations in Yorktown. The more people who are vaccinated, the better off we all are. So anyway, I looked up a map. The nearest Krispy Kreme is an hour's drive away. It's in the South Bronx. So write that into the overlay district that we need a Krispy Kreme. But you can't get them in unless you can promise that you're going to deliver the services that they need, including, I think of sewage because we have had many debates over sewage over the previous years and the cap on the Alex Mill plant. So this is something that we should do. And the only way to do it is not to write all this stuff into the law, but to have an environmental assessment to go with it. And certainly I want a map.
Thank you, Paul.
That's it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks.
Next is Lon Gilbert.
Mr. Gilbert, good evening.
Good evening. Am I I'm unmuted?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You're good.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I want to thank you all for what you do. You all work very hard. I know what it's like to be in your position, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. I mean, I would like to include when I say that you, Matt, and the board finishing the Veteran Road project, and also all the good works you've done regarding COVID. You've done a tremendous job.
Thank you.
I had a resident approach me who, I think for two reasons. One, didn't like to speak in public, but second, she's an owner of one of the restaurants in town, and she couldn't find time to come to speak to Courtesy the Floor. And she expressed to me something, and I actually share her concern. She expressed concern about the crossing at 118 and Downing Drive, where we've created now the connection with FDR Park and the county trailway. And we're encouraging people to utilize that connection, but it's not a very safe crossing over there. And I think what we need to do is look at that and see, especially again, now, maybe we have a little bit of we have a lot of money and coming to us over the next 2 years, but we have to use it wisely and think about how and prioritize things. But one of the thoughts was, and Alice, you remember when we did the mini master plan for the town, when we did reviewed the Wynant and the Roma building, we talked with the DOT about thoughts of traffic in the town, in the center of town. And one of my proposals that I brought forward, and they seemed to consider it, was using some traffic control devices in 3 or 4 different areas of that not directly in the center of town, but a little bit off. And it's very important to have them timed correctly. But to have, my thought was, to have a traffic control device at the Downing 118 spot, because also it's not, aside from people crossing, it's a very dangerous turn when you're trying to leave Uncle Giuseppe's or the Old Turco's and try to make a left-hand turn. It's also, so that was one spot. The second spot was the exit of the Triangle Shopping Center. It's almost impossible, to make a left-hand turn out of there. It's very dangerous. And if we could make that a quick pedestrian crossway, that joins another. Basically, my concept is to join all 4 quadrants of downtown to help make Yorktown a walkable town. And if you put traffic control devices in those 2 spots, and then a potential other spot would have been the exit of the Wynant property and where the Verizon building is, having another traffic control device there. That way you have all 4 quadrants, because obviously you can cross near the Chase Bank or near the Cappellini building. So you have all 4 quadrants join, and you make Yorktown a safe, walkable town. And that was my suggestion. So sort of her bringing to my attention again that 118 crossing brought me in to discuss both that for her that issue, and then also mentioning this proposal. And please, I hope we can give it some consideration. Again, I know you're all, working very hard to do what's right for the town, and that's one of my suggestions. So thank you for allowing me to make my comments tonight.
Thank you.
And that's all I have, as far as I know, for courtesy of the floor.
All right. Make a motion to close courtesy of the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any comments from the board?
Yeah, because I went with Lanny to that DOT meeting. Lanny, I think you remember my feelings about the crossing at 118 and Downing Drive. I just felt that really is an accident waiting to happen. But the Triangle Shopping Center, years ago, they were supposed to put a light up over there. So I think that 35, 202, 118 is ripe for reconsideration by both the town and DOT.
Spoke with Dr. Phil Greeley, just last week, and we have a follow-up conversation. He identified several projects that the town has had on its docket for quite some time.
Yeah, he was with us.
Yep, including the Stony Street traffic light up on the north side of town. Obviously, we spoke about the Heights intersections. So we're trying to explore those. They come with, obviously they're big ticket items. They cost a lot of money to implement, specifically over at the Triangle Center. But we are trying to figure out how we can improve those intersections to make them safer for everybody and create a more walkable downtown. I know Councilman Diana, did you want to add anything from the traffic safety standpoint?
Yes, we had actually looked at the Downing Drive and 118 area there. And at that point in time, there was talk of possibly a crosswalk. We had felt that crosswalks give a false sense of security to the people crossing at that location. Not only that, but there is no place for folks that want to cross at that point in time where if they couldn't make it, a safety zone, so to speak, where they could stop and actually, pardon the expression, rest. Because, if you have somebody who wants to cross and, I don't know, their ability is hampered by maybe a cane or something of that nature, it's tough for them to get across there probably without stopping. As seen in the city of Peekskill at the main intersection in the center of Peekskill, where they actually built an island for that purpose. It makes it very difficult for vehicles to get around sometimes, but it is safer for the people. So we had actually looked at that intersection very carefully. And quite frankly, with the false sense of security that it does give, I mean, people quite often I watch walking up and down the roads, they're on their phones, this, that, the other thing. They're not paying attention. With that crosswalk there, they would pay less attention, I feel, and it would possibly cause more harm than good.
Can I tell you, Tommy, that when we did go up to DOT with Dr. Phil and one of the applicants, we got in the room and the first thing out of their mouth was, "We don't have any money." You?
Oh, God.
There you go.
The
There you
safe
go.
broke.
Tommy,
Yeah, it is.
Tommy,
Not anymore, though. They're flush with cash.
Absolutely.
Now they are.
I'm sorry, Ed. What?
Go ahead,
I
Councilman Matthew.
recall all of this coming up in the initial. Didn't we talk about this in the initial plan to do that whole path? This was a concern throughout the whole process, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And with the pedestrian safety, of course, is paramount in our minds, but we also have to remember that human nature is that if there is something there that's going to maybe slow a car down, people are going to take advantage of that, and I think there would be it'd be more there would be tragic accidents there.
Sure.
I agree.
Just as an aside, I'm just looking real quickly, but the cost associated with that we initially received for the Triangle intersection is over $1.5 million.
Yep.
For construction, design budget being anywhere from $110,000 to $150,000.
Yeah.
And Route 118, $750,000.
Yeah.
That's the Route 118 Downing Drive reconstruction and signalization. So again, we're talking, north of and then if you add in Halleck's Mill Road and the Route 118 intersection reconstruction, that's another $1 million. So yeah, these are all big ticket items, but they've been identified, and obviously we're continuing to explore them and figure out ways to fund them. I mean, that's
but it's not only that, Matthew. You identify them and you've got to fund them, and then you get to go on the TIF, which means you stay there for 5 years, and then maybe it gets done. So we're talking, it's not getting done within the next 5 years.
Well, it is going to take a while. We do need the state's support on this, but it also, as a reminder, you're talking about a state road.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's the town's sole responsibility to fund these enhancements and improvements to the state roads, Route 202, 35, Route 118. Those are all state roads. They're responsible for them.
Correct.
But I think what we could do is look more towards the design aspect to try to get the designs moving, to show the state our willingness to partner with them, and maybe that'll open the door.
If
that's
I may,
where you get the private developer to work with you. That's I think people see roads and they think the town built those roads. Well, the town didn't build those roads. It is the developers that are developed along those roads that were the ones that paid for it. So generally, what you hope to do is to get a private entity who come along and either revive their property or do something new.
And Alice, you and I had the conversation about the road that leads down and back of the old Cablevision. Right. And that may be a perfect opportunity at that point in time, once that comes about, that we are able to do something definitive there. That would be much safer.
That's the perfect road.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I knew you were under the weather. That's why I didn't bother you this week to go check out those couple locations.
Okay,
we'll get
so
together.
We'll go. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Councilman Patel?
Okay, I moved on a Willow Way Street in 1979. And first Thanksgiving night, father and son died. There is a picture, okay? All right?
Wow.
So I spoke to Henry Barnett. He was a New York State Assembly person.
Yeah.
It took 5-6 years. And another 4 people died. Then put a flashing light. I have written later, you will not believe it. So and then another 1 or 2 people died and they resurfaced the road. There is another 12 people died. And when I became councilman, this one day, week before, 2 accidents in the same day, okay?
Oh.
This is the project, cost $600,000, okay? No police department, no committee, never had a complaint. I used to live there, okay? I didn't have a cell phone, but I'm the first one to go over there and help what I can, okay? So this is not too far away from Triangle Center. Only 2 lines. You come in the morning, all the way to the Somers, backed up, okay? So lost productivity is another issue. Nobody counts those hours people wait. And then, bigger trucks and more goods, larger vehicle, 2 passing by, the school bus and all that. This is a big problem, I can tell you that. And I was up whole night for 2 nights And I happen to know both engineer, the one contractor engineer and one of the civil engineer, whole night. And in the morning, I used to clean up the whole thing, okay? This was done, there was no committee, nothing, and nobody complained. But it took more than 12 years and 14 years, 12 people died, okay? And then somebody wrote me, they wanted to sue somebody else. I said, listen, I'm not going to give you this one. This is the safety, and I want you to do something. But still, nobody has died since I became a councilman. But there are still accident occurs because people go too fast. As soon as the first drop of rain comes in, the little oil became, frictionless, and it's very large, very, very bad term. Now, what will happen if further down go? The traffic, the number of vehicle, it cannot handle if something little accident occurs. Only one way. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? This is a big problem, So there was somebody say you make a circle and this and that. Even there is no land, and if you donate the land to the state, they cannot just take it out. It's a millions of dollar project. And then an original project, once I was there in Cortland, to do all the way Bear Mountain to Circle and all these things was like $40 million. I attended many, many meetings before, So traffic is really unbelievable, and safety is a very big issue because the population is very large now than what it was before, So we should think all these things added into that, because I have never heard anybody, the Gittner used to write down, send a picture, whether I give or he came there, but this is also a very dangerous intersection, and then further down the bike up at the Quaker Church Road. Mm-hmm. So we have a very difficult, the road, because those are the old cars are getting bigger and bigger. 2 school bus cannot go one at a time, really, or big trucks passing by. How we are going to deal with this issue, because we have no money and these are the state road, and state is in a bigger trouble than us, really.
I just want to say something. I don't like being a Debbie Downer in what I said, and it's not to me that I don't think we should do anything. Hopefully everyone will understand that the town would like to do something.
Yeah.
And I think the state would like to do something. And I know, Matthew, that they got all this money allegedly, but DOT would tell you they didn't get any of that money.
I'm sure they will say.
One of the things, and I know everybody's going to get mad at me right now, but as you go through that plan district, again, we're looking at roads that are completely DOT roads, and they will be an interested party,
right?
And they will have to come and comment. And like I said, we went up, we talked to them, they agreed that things should be done. But again, you have to have plans, you have to have someone to pay for it, and then you get on a TIF.
Exactly. The other point that we've discussed, and I don't remember if I stated it, but we are going to have a additional work session April 29th, and that specifically is for the town board to interview all of those applicants who responded to the RFP for a traffic consultant for the town. So that's going to be another resource that we're going to be able to tap into.
Right.
And to Paul's point earlier, which I agree with a lot of the things he said, but that's why you see on the agenda tonight, we're also authorizing an RFP for an environmental consultant, because we need to make sure that we have all these things in place, and these checks and balances in place, and that we're protecting the interests of our community, and we're not just being dictated to by individuals who want to propose a project. So that's why we're taking all these steps.
But may I just say one word? Traffic issue is not just only one small area alone, It has to be entrance from the Summers to here to all the way passing the town, Long time ago, there was some, conversations that, where it used to be Chase Bank, you pass by and all that, and it died down. And in the end, everything comes out to be a money, the state. And we would love to have this improvement, and maybe it will help us,
you know, you got to look at the other side of the coin as well. And that's how people drive.
Right.
I just wanted to readdress Paul Moskowitz one more time. Paul, I really appreciate your comments, and I agree with them. The map question, I thought that it was part of the legislation. I'm going to double check with our team if it's not. I thought it was too, but if it's not, we'll make sure that it's. Maybe Diana, do you know if that's uploaded?
On the website.
It is, but I'll check right now.
All right, yeah. So we'll check to make sure that the maps are up there for your use. In regards to, I know Ms. Siegel made a comment about the comp plan. I know that John Tegeter's with us, our director of planning. Just to be clear, our opinion is that I'll say I don't want to say ours because I don't want to talk for the board. But John, if you want to chime in, but the comp plan is viewed as a living document, and the idea of overlay districts, the tool of overlay districts, is within the comp plan. And the comp plan today, the comp plan from 2010, obviously the Heights area was not in the same state as it is today. Mm-hmm. And so all we've done is utilize a tool within the comp plan, again, looking at it as a living document, and applied it to an area where we feel needs that type of support and that type of reinvestment and help. John, if I'm misstating in any of that, can you please correct me?
No, I don't think you're misstating it at all. The comp plan talked about and laid forth some recommendations for types of overlay districts, and then it recommended mapping 3 of them. But the recommendation for those types of overlay districts was not embodied in only those 3 districts that you find on the land use map, which is also a recommendation. In addition to that, there is a policy in the land use chapter that states that on an ongoing basis, the town should look at areas to apply overlay zones to protect certain resources, some that would benefit the environment, others that would benefit the community. And I think you are in a very strict keeping with what the overlay zones, how they were put forth in the plan, and also with that policy that states that, on an ongoing basis, as things change, that you look at them in ways to protect things and also to benefit the community. So I think this effort of overlay districts, regardless of specifics, I think you are well within what the comprehensive plan has recommended that you do.
Thank you, John. Wanted to make sure I was still accurate on that.
Yeah, and I also want to add, because it was
facts are like that, Matt. They don't go away.
Yes, Councilman Ackerman.
Yeah, I'd like to add also, because there was a lot of talk about critics of this, critics of that. You know what? Every one of our citizens are entitled to have an opinion about something, and I want to thank them for sending them in. Sending them direct. We've gotten them writing in the paper, phone calls, conversations in the store. It's a very, very important part of the process, and I really, really encourage everyone to keep doing so, not to be deterred because you're being labeled a critic of a group. It's not. You know what? If you feel for a project and you want to speak about it, I think it's essential that we get that. And I will say, with Mr. Moskowitz's comments, I thought they were great too. And I really, they're very balanced. And that's really what this is about. It's all about a balance. And, those are the comments that we really appreciate. There's not a lot out there information-wise for us to review on the different plans. So there are all of these different this is happening and that's happening. I'd love to know where that came from, because we don't really have, have those projects in writing. So a lot of the rumor mill stuff, it's tough to deal with. But please, if you have an opinion about things, let us know. It is the proper way to do it. So thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Otherwise, we've got 2 public hearings that we can dive into. Okay. So we will transition to public hearings. We have 2. We will reconvene a public hearing to consider the petition for zoning and site plan amendments submitted by Cuddy and Feder on behalf of Kitchewan Barnes, LLC, for property located at 712 Kitchewan Road. This is a request for an amended site plan approval that is proposed. Approval is for the proposed minor addition. Excuse me. I want to thank the team from Cuddy and Feder for sending over your memo today. It was very well done and appreciated. That addressed a lot of the questions that were raised by every single agency that responded. So I do want to thank you for that. And is Taylor? Do we have Taylor with us tonight, or is Rebecca? Are you leading off here?
I am playing the role of Taylor Palmer tonight.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, and thankfully my microphone is working this time. Apparently, not like last month. I felt the pain of the earlier speaker with the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Thank you, members of the town board, for having us this evening. I'm joined by the applicant, Michael Katz and Steven Spiro, who make up Kitchewan Barnes. Also joining this evening is Mike Bodendorf of Hudson Land Design and Peter Wintermantle from the firm of Aries Siegel Architect.
Great.
As you mentioned, Supervisor, we are here this evening in connection with the public hearing for Tracer's petition for a zoning amendment to the existing transitional zoning classification for the premises in furtherance of Tracer's proposed minor site plan amendment to the existing office and flex space. I'll just note this public hearing was opened by the town board on April 6th and then adjourned it to a date certain, which is tonight. We note that the public hearing signs are still posted at the property, and we submitted verification of that to your town clerk.
Thank you.
I will note that as discussed on April 6th, we received positive correspondence from the Conservation Board and your town's planning board, additional correspondence from the Westchester Planning Board, and the Town of Yorktown Advisory Board on Architecture and Community Appearance, which I understand is lovingly known as ABACA.
Yeah.
That's right.
As the supervisor mentioned, we did submit today a synopsis of our response to those comments. We don't expect that the board has had an opportunity to review that today, but we did submit that to you. Since our last appearance, we did receive correspondence from the New York City Department of Environmental Protection. Yep. I'm pleased to report that our applicants' representatives were able to meet via Teams today with the DEP. If the board has any questions about that meeting, Mike Bodendorf did participate and would be able to briefly summarize. And Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially the result is we are outside of the DEP's area of jurisdiction. That's been confirmed by Mike's letter back to the department, and we expect essentially a no action letter. Mike, anything to add to that?
No, you're absolutely correct. We're outside of the 500-foot offset from the water's edge. We're outside 300 feet from stem to the reservoir, and we're outside of that 300 feet. We're another 560 feet to where the proposed addition is. So we're well outside their jurisdiction, and they did acknowledge that today.
Great.
And finally, I also understand that Mike has had an opportunity to speak with the town's engineer, and responses have been submitted in today's submission addressing that as well.
I think Dan CRC is with us tonight. There he is. Hey, Dan.
Good evening. Yeah, has the plan been revised, Michael? Or
not yet.
There's just responses in writing?
Yeah, the plans will be revised and resubmitted for review.
Okay.
But it sounded like from your, the well and septic system is going to be added to the site plan. Soil stockpile is going to be relocated to an alternate location. So it sounded like a lot of the things that were raised by our engineering team, you were able to address.
Yeah, and they will be shown on a plan for resubmission.
Okay.
So this is actually our fourth appearance in front of the board, so I will not rehash the history of the project. I would just note we are prepared to show site plans, elevations if necessary, as this is a continued public hearing, if there's any questions.
I don't need to see them. Does any member of the board need to see them?
No, I thought the only reason for extending the time for the public hearing was that we had to meet the date of the notice, one of our notices.
It was a secret deadline.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yep. Then it also gave gave us time for Dan and Mike to connect, and also for them to connect with DEP. So it seems like those boxes were checked. Diana, if it's okay, Rebecca, do we have anybody who wants to speak on this application? Diana?
I don't know of anybody that's requested to speak on this application. No.
Okay. So if we have no one who's here to speak on the application.
Motion to close.
Very good. We have a motion to close.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Close public hearing. John, Tegeter, and Dan, are you guys going to work on the approval resolution?
Yeah, that's being worked on. It's nearly complete in draft form, at least. Be helpful to get, some of the things that you just talked about. And I did speak with the applicant today about a couple other things that need to come in just to make the package complete, so that when it goes out in a manner that is less likely to have to come back to you. So I think we're in good shape.
Thank you.
Excellent.
And I'll just echo what John said. Yeah, to the extent we can have a lot of these issues resolved prior to having a resolution teed up for the board, I think that would make things a lot simpler and cleaner.
Great.
All right, so we'll wait until you get everything.
So let's try to have this all reconciled by our next regular town board meeting, so that we can pass the needed resolution. So that would be May 4th.
Very good. We will be prepared. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll reconvene a public hearing for the wetlands and stormwater permit applications submitted by Christopher and Amanda Collier for the construction of a new home on property located at 2572 Gregory Street. And we're welcoming back their team, which includes Steve Coleman, Jerry Barrett, and is Joel on?
I'm here.
Hey, Joel, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
We are doing well, thanks. There you go.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, welcome back. We appreciate the time. Do you want to update us as to where you are?
Yes. If you recall, at the 2 weeks ago at the last town board meeting, there were several questions that were brought up.
Yes.
First of all, and Steve will expound upon it if you want any more information, but our wetlands expert, Steve Coleman, went back to the site and Chris Collier made arrangements so he could go onto the property to the north, which we suspected connected the two wetlands, and they do. If you look at the revised drawing and the revised survey that was done, it shows that they do connect. Yep. Steve Coleman also checked about the vernal pool that we thought that the town thought might be in the rear wetland, and Steve checked it out. And basically, if you have want more information, he'll be happy to explain it. But there is no vernal pool. And the final question I think that came up was whether or not there was any wetlands in the area that was showing for the driveway. Here it is. If you look to the top, you'll see this is the property to the north, so that this area here is also wetlands. So it connects the wetlands in the front to the wetlands in the back. But Steve Coleman went through this entire area between the two wetlands, and this is about where the house is going to go, and found that it was not wetland at all. So that basically we've gone through all the questions. Then Jerry also went through the comments with regard to the landscaping in the front, the landscaping in the back, and creating some kind of a barrier between the wetlands in the front and the back and the house and the area that's going to be used by the family. And as you can see on Jerry's drawing, if we can get that up, there are a whole series of large rocks, which are shown here on Jerry's drawings. You can see all over here, here, so that there's no question that this is where you stop. And also the plantings would change, and maybe Jerry, you want to explain how we reduced the number of trees being taken out and added a lot more shrubbery.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I'm on a different computer tonight. I'm having a little problem, so hopefully
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
You're
We can
good.
hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So what we did was based on since our last meeting with the board and reviewing the town planner's correspondence, we tried to address the issues that came up. And I think Joel just talked about Steve Coleman went back out there. Steve has issued a report now regarding the wetlands and has indicated that he believes it's one wetland system, that there are no vernal pools. So I think we're past that point. When we talked with the town planner previously, and I think at the end of March, we had a Zoom meeting, and I think the concern was, what could we do to further protect the on-site wetlands and the buffers? And so the original plan that we provided to the board, it showed all the plantings in green. And since that time, all the new planting we're showing, this is all fern and daffodil backed up by native shrubs in here. There's more shrubbery in here. There's more shrubbery in here. So what we did was we added 380 shrubs to the plan, and we added 5 new trees to the plan. And what that helped us do, that helped us get our tree removals to tree replacements more in a balance. The other question came up was, what can we do to provide visual cues and physical cues to make sure that future owners, respect this grading limit line? That's what you see in this blue line, and this is what we need to disturb to put the new home in. And so what we've done now is we've shown 2 by 2 by 2 boulders. Those are boulders that you can't move those by hand. You'd have to have a machine. But so we would put them here. We got them here. We go every 20, 25 feet or so, and we put a cluster in, and we make it varied so it looks a little more natural. We also extended this boulder wall along the driveway to tie into these, and we extended it this way. And then you can see the boulder. These demarcation points come all the way around. The idea is that the homeowner or a compliance officer could always go back and check to make sure that that the buffers are being protected as they were supposed to be. We talked about shrub masses. We do a lot of shrub massing. When we see a shrub mass like this is one species, and what happens is it grows into a big hedgerow. We believe it provides great, these things are going to get, 12 feet tall, 15 feet tall, and maybe about 10 feet wide. So they get big. So we're talking about big masses of berry-producing shrubs. We think we can create some, because there's very little understory in here. So the idea is to create an understory that would be useful to the on-site wildlife for foraging and nesting. And so we had put that in, and we had just worked that into our calculations for the tree replacements, because in other communities, they recognize the value of shrub masses. And there's a calculation that we had added that in there to try to help us get closer to where we needed to be, and revegetate the site, and most importantly, provide the habitat replacement that would be coming out. And I think it works well. We were asked to put the flood line on. So the flood line, we show it now at 439, and that's from the FEMA map. It's right back here. You can see it pretty much coincides with the wetland line. We've added all the test pits. This is the test pits for the drainage were done here, and the test pits for the drainage were done here. Well, all the wetland flag numbers are on the plan now. We were asked to put it on. And right. This area here, the wetland in the back, we talked about putting that into a conservation easement, and I think the owner is amenable to that idea, and we just kind of need a little bit of guidance from the town, how he goes about to do that. We've also gone and updated our planting plan. We had some comments from the tree committee, and we had some species on there that weren't native, and they asked us to change them, so we did, and we've changed them, and we made some substitutions of similar plants. So that's been done. Let's see. We talked about the mitigation in the front, grading limit line we talked about in the conservation easement. So we we tried to address all the outstanding points that came up at the meetings and in the town planner's memo, and I think we have. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Fantastic, Jerry. Thanks. Any questions from the town board members?
Yeah, I do have a question. I remember have you responded both to the tree committee as well as the conservation board directly?
Well, we have memos from both the conservation board and the committee, and I believe they were, yeah, I think we have. I think we've responded to the points that were raised.
Well, generally what you have to do is get back to them and they then go, okay. That's what I'm trying to ask. That's what I'm trying to get you to tell me.
The Conservation Board had no issues with the original submittal.
Conservation Board, if you look at their memo, it gave us a clean bill of health, Alice.
Okay, so it was just the tree committee.
Correct.
And there was just a couple of comments. If you look at Jim's report, he responds back to that, to their comments.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing was number 2.
Right.
About native trees.
And that's been
But what I'm
changed.
saying is that normally, if once you respond, you go back to the tree committee. You don't just respond to the town board, but you respond to the tree committee. That's what I'm trying to ask.
Perhaps we can, in order to move things along, we can forward our information to the committee and
that would be helpful.
Yeah, but it's impossible. I mean, I think we've answered all the questions, Alice. If we can proceed with maybe getting an approval subject to the easement, which of course Mr. Collier has agreed to, and a letter from the tree board saying that we've answered their questions, and so we don't have to continue the public hearing.
I'll let John respond with his questions. Yeah, still has them.
So we're going to go over to staff. So Dan or John, engineering or planning, any comments?
As far as I'm concerned, they've responded to everything that I had raised satisfactorily. I think these guys have done a good, commendable job before my comments and after my comments. So I think there's additional protections here. I think the mitigation plan is a better mitigation plan. I think they responded pretty good. And I think that the conservation easement is a big help in adding some protection to the wetland that I think offers the highest function on this site. So as of right now, I'm satisfied with what they've done.
Great. Dan?
Basically the same here. We, looked at the, predominantly the stormwater plan, and the applicant's done the necessary testing and sized the practices accordingly. So from my perspective, we're good to go with this particular application.
That's good.
Okay. Diana, are there any members of the public who would like to comment on the application?
None that I know.
Motion to close.
A motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. So why don't we have our staff work on the necessary approving resolutions. In the meantime, if you could send your information over back to the Tree Commission for their look over as Councilwoman Roker had requested, and then we can have final approvals ready for our next town board meeting.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Does that work for the applicant?
That's good. Yeah, we'll update the tree commission with the updated planting list for their approval.
Yes.
I want us to go ask
I'm
a
sorry?
tree commission that told us everything was fine. They want us to go back and ask them if they really mean that it's fine.
Well, you didn't say that before.
Well, we don't have anything in writing from the Tree Commission that their questions were answered. So if we can just get that memo back, and we'll be doing that as a simultaneously with writing the needed approving resolutions.
Very good.
Thank you.
That work? Very good.
Matt, at the next meeting, do we have to do any presentations again?
As long as we have a memo back from the tree commission that they reviewed your responses and that they're good with them, I don't foresee any need.
No, you're closed.
Okay.
Done almost.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay well and
Okay.
stay safe, and thanks again for everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to note that there was a third public hearing on the agenda, but that public hearing has been postponed at the request of the engineer for the project, Joe Arena, and that is in regards to a wetland stormwater tree permit application by Mr. Yankopoulos for the purpose of accessing a new driveway off of Old Logging Road. So that has been postponed at the request of the applicant. So we'll continue to move on to resolutions. We have a resolution to authorize the town supervisor to apply for a Hudson Valley Greenway Compact Planning Grant. Just for the board's and the public's knowledge, this has to do with the LWRP that we are trying to also pursue with the state, and we're doing that in partnership with our friends at LaBerge. Authorize the supervisor to sign an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Westchester to receive New York State Transportation Services funding in the amount of $3,322. Authorize the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Westchester for the STOP DWI program. Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Schindler Elevator Corporation for elevator maintenance at the John C. Hart Memorial Library. Authorize the listed motorized equipment, which is deemed obsolete by the Highway Department, to be sold at auction by Absolute Auctions and Realty, Inc. We're going to authorize the town clerk to advertise requests for proposals for environmental planning services to the town of Yorktown. Again, that's the environmental consultant that we had mentioned earlier. Authorize the town clerk to advertise requests for proposals for Lake Mohegan green infrastructure and stormwater retrofit design for the Mohegan Lake Improvement District. This is this has to do with the LWRP grant that was secured in 2019, and so that's what this deals with. And I want to thank Ken Belfer for his help on that. Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Refuse and Recycling Department. This has to do with the study. Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Highway Department. Award a bid for repair work on town automobiles and trucks to Yorktown Auto Body, Inc. Authorize the comptroller to refund the following first half school tax penalty for account number 4904000 in the amount of $142.61. And I did check with our receiver of taxes to be clear on this. And the individual that's being refunded, the bill came in late, but it was postmarked correctly. So that's why they're refunding that late payment. And that concludes the resolutions. We have a motion.
Oh, just a second. I have one comment. May I make a comment?
Yes.
You mentioned that we are going to auction out some of the obsolete. I think we should look more closely. Why do we need the equipment? We don't use it, and then we have to carry insurance and all that. So we should continuously monitor and get rid of this thing, because we have no place to store, and we have to pay the insurance, and those are your equipments are useless. So continue to keep an eye on this kind of thing.
The good news that I'm happy to report to you, Councilman Patel, that these are obviously for the Highway Department, but working with our comptroller and our foreman over at Refuse, we revitalized our fleet committee, and we have done a full audit on all of our town vehicles, and it's amazing what we found. So I'll leave it at that. But I agree with you. I appreciate your comments, I do agree with you. So thank you.
Yeah, because in 2010, we had equipment, $25 worth of a lawnmower. I mean, come on, why you need it? And it costs money to insure, but we have no place to store. So continue to keep an eye on this kind of thing. It's really good.
You're definitely finding. I can tell you, finding vehicles that we were paying insurance for that are no longer in use, so on and so forth. So thankfully, by revitalizing the fleet committee, we're able to cut those expenses, save us some money, and get a better grasp at the state of our fleet, which is very, very important. Again, recognizing that what we're discussing here is not necessarily fleet related because it's over in the highway department. It's heavy equipment, but it's the same concept. So I do agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you for grabbing the bull by the horns on that, Supervisor Slater.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Well, it's team effort. Team effort. I'm sorry. So those are the resolutions.
Yeah.
I second it. I think, Alice, did you?
Yes, I motioned it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motions all carry. And if there's no other business before the board, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Good night.
Have a great night, everyone. Stay
Ed.
safe.
Night all.
Good night.
Text me.